Wait, if you feel very badly about something, where are you going with that? You're thinking of the past. This thing, when we're out of the self, it's no longer about us. It's no longer the guilt and shame. Those are defects of character, guilt and shame, right? It's not a working. That's the thing. We don't work at it. It comes to us when we meditate. We get in our presence of that higher consciousness. We don't have to try anymore. Trying to figure it out is not one of the steps. Trying to analyze is not one of the steps. When we're quiet and we get serene, we have that spiritual awakening. That's where the answer is. It's in that God consciousness, higher power, but it's in us all the time. That other stuff you're thinking about, the guilt, the shame, the remorse, all of that has to do with the ego, the self, right? Did you follow that? Just know that. Look, if you want to feel guilty and upset and angry all day, do that. But know the truth from the false. The truth is that when you think this way, it's not true. It's coming from what people impressed you how to feel and act. Okay. If you did something bad to somebody, so what? You can make an amends. You can say something to them, but realize that it's the past. The past is an illusion. And we're out of the self. We're reborn. It talks about that's what the third step is about, being reborn and thinking. We're all about this higher source of joy, happiness, not about the resentment, the past loves, the sentimental feelings. That's not what God intended for us. He wants us to enjoy and be one with the present, the eternal present. That's all. That's the answer is don't try to figure it out. The answer is to know the truth. The truth will set you free. As in this case, you're thinking of the self, and that's not reality. That's the past. The past. You're still planning the past, right? Okay. Anyway, Anthony, I just want to let you know it's a simple program. It's just getting this one concept, getting it, turning the light switch on, realizing it's not about our thinking. It's not about the food. It's not about the alcohol, people liking us. The real solution and blissfulness and happiness is in here, and it's God given. We just decided, made the food, we made people. If we're depressed, 99% of the times we're depressed and upset, it has to do with people. It says in the fourth step, resentments and fear and anger. But that's false. It's coming from a false sense of self. But I just want to read this, and we agnostics, it's an interesting chapter. Hey, look, this spiritual stuff, this AAOA, whatever you want to call it. And I always say this, these steps, these are all the philosophies and religions. Billions of people in this world and through the ages believed in religions and philosophies. There's a reason. And this isn't the cult here. These things, when you read this first part of this big book and what I read you, is based in every philosophy and religion, ancient Greek, Eastern, Western, meditation, Eastern, Western, all these philosophies. We have it all here. And be grateful we have these addictions. And especially if you're in your addiction, that you can use, it brings you closer. I always say to people, it will bring you closer to this program. If you want to work the steps in the program. But it says, before I do, does anybody else want to say anything before I read on? But let me just read on page 45. And I have to laugh. There was a thing I saw on the internet. The name of the chapter is called We Agnostics. So some guy goes, he really didn't want to go to these AA meetings, whatever it was, 12-step recovery meetings. And he says, finally, he looked in the book. There's a chapter called We Agnostics. So he goes, wow, a chapter I could really relate to because it's talking about me. I have no faith in a higher power of God. I'm an agnostic. And he says, but then he realizes he read it, it's to get him to believe in a higher power, But let me just say something about that quickly. We believed in higher consciousness on page 54. It says, so it's saying about belief. We had a belief system. It says here, had we not worship people, sentimental things, money, and ourselves. So people say, I don't worship things. No, we did all right. We believed in the self, the ego, the self. And where did, you got to say, how did that work out for you? But it says here, lack of power. That was our dilemma on page 45. We had to find a power greater than ourselves. So even in the doctor's opinion, he said there's only by a spiritual solution. Here it's saying too, on the page before, from an illness, only a spiritual experience can conquer your addiction to people, codependency, the food, the alcohol, whatever addictions you have, there's a solution to solve your problems. And it says on the bottom of page 44, and then we'll go to, if a mere code on bottom of page 45 of morals or better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, food addiction, codependency, many of us would have recovered long ago. So I tried all of those things. When I came in here, I had self-help books, millions of them. I tried to figure it out. I tried to go ask people how to, professional, non-professional. I tried every way, try to analyze, try to feel my emotions, did everything possible. The only solution is letting go. Again, if you have a hard time with certain concepts of higher power, it's really the energy, the spirit of the universe, and the Tao, as some people call it, energy around us. It's there. It just is. This whole universe, it works like clockwork. It all is in sync. But we want to separate ourselves from the love and the tolerance. We want to separate ourselves from the universal energy. It's just out there. When you feel the flow in, just life, like I said, life will surrender to you. So it goes on to say. So anyway, we would have recovered long ago. We found that such codes and philosophies did not save us no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. It actually cuts you off from power. When I try to analyze how I'm going to be with people, how I'm going to love them, how I'm going to do this, do that, the power's not there. If I try to figure out how to, in sports or something, how to do something, and you can't do it. You just got to just feel the emotions and power. But anyway, with that, I want to thank everybody for coming to the meeting. I put information in the chat if you need it on the days, and we'll be back here on Sunday.